Every second, your heart races a little faster. You feel it. That creeping sense of panic that no limited partner wants to admit. That gnawing fear when markets wobble, when news hits hard, when everything you thought was steady suddenly feels like quicksand beneath your feet. It's that moment where doubt spills in. Will this investment hold? Will the promises turn to dust? Will the risks you accepted come crashing in all at once? It's all too real. And you know what? This panic, it's not just about the numbers. It's about losing control, losing certainty, losing grip on the very future you're trying to secure. You're not alone. Every LP has stood there, feeling the cold sweat of uncertainty, watching your portfolio slide, hearing the whisper of setbacks, or worse, feeling the silence when updates stop coming. It's terrifying. Because deep down, every LP wants to believe that their choice was smart, that their trust wasn't misplaced, that their patience will pay off. But the brutal truth? The panic comes when you're blindsided. When the story you bought turns incomplete or fades into shadows. That's the moment panic tightens its grip. But what if panic didn't have to grip you? What if that cold sweat, the racing mind, the sleepless nights, they could be pushed back? What if instead of reacting with anxiety, you could face the chaos calm, steady, unshakable? The secret isn't about dodging risk because risk is always there. It's knowing how, exactly how, to brace yourself so hard that panic doesn't get a foothold. To create a shield of clarity and action before the storm even appears on the horizon. The first thing to grasp is that panic is a betrayal of preparation. It's that slippery moment when your instincts, overwhelmed, take over because your foundation is shaky. The cure is relentless preparation, knowing your investments inside out, not just the shiny highlights, but the risks, the weak links, the what-ifs. Dig deep, demand transparency, scrutinize every document, every term sheet, every assumption like your future depends on it, because it does. Panic can only thrive in ignorance, but preparation isn't enough on its own. You need perspective. Panic screams when you lose sight of the bigger picture. When one bad headline feels like the end of everything. The antidote? Emotional discipline. That means training your mind to pause, to ask hard questions instead of jumping to worst-case conclusions. When markets shake, a disciplined LP asks, what's changed? Is this temporary noise or a real shift? How does this fit into the long-term plan? This is where your real power lies. Seeing beyond the chaos, grounding yourself in facts, and resisting the urge to give in to the freeze or flight of panic? Now, here's where it gets powerful. The real prevention comes from control, not control over markets because that's impossible, but control over your actions, your decisions, your flow of information. Build systems that work for you. Set up trusted advisors, legal experts, and analysts who challenge your assumptions, who bring hard truths, not comforting lies. Demand regular, honest updates from fund managers. Don't wait for crises to call for answers. Create a routine to assess risks, review performance, and adjust strategies. Panic rarely has a chance when you're in the driver's seat, steering with data and strategy, not blind hope or fear. And listen carefully. Panic feeds on isolation. It's in that lonely moment, overwhelmed and unheard, that fear bursts. So find your circle. Connect with other LPs who get it, the pressures, the stakes, the sleepless nights. Share your doubts, your fears, your lessons. There's strength in that shared experience. It's a firewall against the wildfire of panic. When you know you're not alone, when you have a network that grounds you, panic loses its voice. Here's a game changer that most don't talk about: your mindset toward loss. Panic strikes hardest when loss is taboo or seen as failure. Reframe this. Loss isn't a trap, it's a teacher. It's part of investing, part of the journey. When you accept that setbacks happen and that they're not the end, you cut off panic before it starts. Embrace resilience. Develop mental models that see loss as data, not doom. This edge, that's where real calm comes from. Let's break it down even further. Panic is a story you tell yourself. I'm losing everything. I made a mistake. It's all falling apart. Change the story. Replace it with facts and plans. This doesn't mean being cold or unfeeling. It means being honest and strategic. Ask yourself, what can be done now? What options are available? Where is there leverage? Then act on those answers. Panic freezes, action freeze. Action, even small steps, breaks the power of fear. Now imagine having a preset checklist. This is not just any checklist. It's a personalized, battle-tested method that triggers when red flags pop up. Maybe it's a deep dive meeting with your fund manager, or reallocating capital, or consulting a risk specialist. You decide the moves before the panic hits. This expected response becomes your armor, and when the storm comes, you follow the plan, step by step, unwavering. And don't underestimate patience. The real panic comes from impatience, wanting quick fixes, instant answers, immediate results. But deep investing is a slow game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Holding steady when everything screams to bolt, that's courage. That's the rare strength that separates those who panic from those who prevail. Tie your stakes to this mindset. Growth takes time. Disruption can look like decline before the rise. Volatility is often the price of breakthrough. Here's the brutal, honest truth. If you want to prevent panic, you must be willing to change yourself, not just your portfolio, your emotions, your habits, your expectations. Panic is a habit. Like any habit, it can be broken with awareness and discipline. Start by recognizing the triggers. What news, what patterns, what internal voices push you toward fear? Document them. Prepare counterthoughts. Build rituals that bring you back to center, whether it's mindfulness, journaling, or focused breathing. It's easy to say, but hard to do. That's why so many LPs suffer in silence. But you, watching this now, you can be different. You can be the LP who owns their fears and transforms them, who builds an unbreakable shield of preparation, perspective, control, community, and patience, who redefines loss and rewrites panic as power. Understand this, panic isn't a sudden enemy. It creeps in, layered with uncertainty, isolation, misinformation. But it also leaves clues. That sinking feeling when you don't get the answers you need. That restless doubt when silence stretches too long. That urge to act out of fear instead of strategy. Spotting these early is your secret weapon. Catch panic before it catches you. This is not about surviving turmoil. It's about mastering it. It's about turning volatility into opportunity. About transforming chaos into clarity. It's about stepping into your role, not as a victim of markets, but as a sovereign player with grit and grace. So when the headlines scream, when the rumors swirl, when the numbers flash red, remember this moment. Breathe. Remember your prep. Call your team. Remind yourself, this is part of the journey, not the end of it. Trust your systems. Lean on your network. And above all, hold fast to your patience and perspective. Panic can't win if you refuse to play its game. Because in the end, what makes a limited partner panic is simple. Losing control, losing connection, losing clarity. But what prevents it is just as simple. Total ownership. Ownership of your knowledge, your choices, your mindset, your community, your process. That's the power. That's your edge. When you claim it, panic doesn't stand a chance. So go ahead, meet the fear, name it, and watch it shrink. You're not just an investor, you're a force, a guardian of your own future. Panic is just a test, and you're ready to pass with strength nobody else dares to claim.